users don't care about your product. And this is looking through the lens of the data engineer, data steward, data scientist, and ML engineer. We're going to introduce the Jobs to Be Done framework. So Jobs to Be Done is a framework that helps us understand our customers and the market. It focuses primarily on goals or what people need to accomplish in a given circumstance. So tying back to our title, users don't care about your product, they care about their problem. So the first step to this is identifying a main job. And it doesn't refer to a specific offering, method, or technique. So this job remains stable over time, even as products and solutions evolve. It has the appropriate level of abstraction to remain purposeful, but still encompass specific job steps. So a good example here is a non-specific, timeless job of listening to music. An example that wouldn't work is play music on Spotify, because these solutions can change over time. Next, we identified the job map within a main job. So this breaks down different stages of the main job, of the goal, and identifies corresponding steps and outcome statements. Listed here are the 8 universal job map stages. Following this, we identified an outcome statement for each of the job steps. So this is an example of an outcome statement. An outcome statement is the success criteria for getting the job done, similar to what we might identify as user needs. So it starts with a direction of change, whether that's increase or decrease, a unit of measure like time, error number, or likelihood, an object, and a clarifier. So tying back to our music example, an outcome statement might be decrease the time it takes to play the songs of a favorite artist. So now I'll go over our research process. So as I mentioned, this Jobs to Be Done study included 4 roles: the data engineer, data steward, data scientist, and ML engineer. So here's a high-level snapshot of the work that we did over the past 6 months of 2020. Now Diana will talk about our research participants.
Thanks, Teresa. So I'll go ahead and give you some information about the research participants. So as you can see here, our participants come from a wide variety of companies and industries. And as far as demographics, our participants were majority IBM customers at 64%. But we also did have some non-IBM customers. So these are folks using competitor solutions. And there's this map, which kind of gives a visual of just where our survey participants were located. So as you can see, the darker blue signifies a greater number of people in each country. And you can see that our participants span really worldwide, but the majority of them reside in the US and India. And then we'd also like to give you a brief look into how the survey was structured and how the results were prioritized. So in addition to the qualitative research or job maps that we gathered from our Jobs to Be Done initiative, we wanted to kind of zone in and focus on these surveys that allowed us to gain quantitative metrics. How important was it to the participant? And then how satisfied was the participant with how the outcome statement is currently done? And just to kind of note here, the outcome statements that participants received were really dependent on which of the 4 main jobs, or jobs if they had multiple, was most relevant to them. So then we took these outcome statements and prioritized and plotted them based on participant ratings from the survey. And it's important to know that this table will reflect the entire data and AI market. So on the upper right-hand corner of the graph, you see table stakes. And these are basically desired outcomes that are very important and currently being highly satisfied by existing products. So in other words, this table stakes section represents a saturated market. And to stay competitive, you'll need to address these needs. And addressing this will leave users extremely satisfied. And then on the upper left-hand corner, you see underserved. And these are desired outcomes that are important to the user, but currently being poorly satisfied. And this underserved area is the biggest opportunity area, and focusing on this can give a competitive advantage. And then there's the bottom portion, which represents not worth going after. These outcomes are low in importance and possibly already being satisfied.
Thanks, Diana. So basically what we found, here we've noted the main jobs of each role that came up after all of our process. So if you remember from earlier, again, the main job of a person or a role is meant to be offering agnostic, so no mention of a solution, and it should also be broad enough to encompass everything that they're doing within their role. So it did take us some time to get to the right level. We kept on having to ask why these roles did a certain task in order to kind of get an overview of what their main goal in their role is. So as you can see here, a data engineer is mainly migrating and transforming data. Data steward is maintaining data quality and compliance. The data scientist is solving complex business problems with machine learning models, algorithms, and data. And the ML engineer is building systems to augment and automate decision making. So these were our ODI survey results. Like Diana mentioned, each of the applicants to the survey were shown these main jobs. And so they chose which was relevant to them. And then from there, they got the outcome statements that corresponded to that main job. And so then they rated them. So we had 161 qualified participants. And as you can see, most of the outcome statements or the need statements fell into the underserved area, with a few table stakes and even less under not worth going after. So moral of the story is that everything is important. We should go after everything, which was interesting. But as far as the top needs that were identified, so really those top opportunities, those that were highest importance but lowest current satisfaction with how tools are handling them. We saw most opportunity with the data scientist. So a data scientist noted that they wanted to increase the quality of their data, increase quality of data documentation, and decrease the time it takes them to find data. So this is where the most opportunity laid. And I won't go over all of them, but we do have a handy Airtable where you'll be able to view all the results. And then as far as table stakes, so as a refresher, these were need statements that were high importance and high satisfaction. So something that is expected of a tool that's in the market. So basically, the data engineer that is migrating and transforming data, these were the results specific to them. So we see that really they're interested in minimizing the risk of inconsistency and mistakes of manual processing. So really any duplicates that come up or any accidental deletions that they may do. They want to maximize the clarity of requirements for the job of migrating and transforming data. So having a clear understanding of what sources they need to go to, the format that the user wants it in. And they also want to maximize the efficiency of migrating and processing data. And so this and all the other results can be found in our W3 website. So as you can see here through the little illustration, you'll be linked to the job map itself, but also the ODI survey results where you can kind of interactively look through the points on the graph.
So good. That was really, really cool. And I hope that you all feel proud because that work was like so in-depth, so thorough, and I'm really glad that you shared it today.